The Next Shelter Network presents an Appalachian Trail interview series, 2024 edition. This is a platform for hikers to share their hearts, minds, and experiences. These interviews are hosted by yours truly, Trevor Hendry, otherwise known as Bear. Now to the interview.
Yeah,
All right,
let's do this
sweet.
thing.
Let's do it. All right, so we are, can I confirm? Yes, we are live. We are with Morgan. All right, ready for it? I'm going to get it right this time.
You can do
Win.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be winning this year on the AT because Morgan is starting in mid-March. Is that correct?
Yep. Mid-March, first half of March. Still narrowing that down, but very soon.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm excited for you. Um, that's going to be a traditional Nobo, right?
Yes, that's the plan now.
Yeah. So before we get into anything trail related, where are you coming from? Like where are you at now prior to the departure?
Um, right now, I'm in Charlevoix, Michigan. I'm in northern Michigan. I was in Colorado last year and just moved back to Michigan right before the holidays because I was laid off from my job, unfortunately. So came back home. Yeah. But I'm really enjoying the time up here, and um, it's in some ways given me some peace and quiet and focus to plan this crazy adventure that I'm about to embark on.
Yeah, it is crazy. So you mentioned Colorado. Were you one of the ski bums up there, or what was your deal over there?
No, no, I was only there for a year. I feel like I've had a couple lives. I was in New York City for 7 years and then was in Colorado for a year, working remotely and just I was working central hours. So I was working for a company based in Chicago. So I was done at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and would go hike or bike or just find ways to enjoy the 300 days of sunshine we are promised in Colorado.
Yeah.
um, and really loved it. So it's a bummer to leave, but we're on our way to the next chapter, whatever that is.
Yeah. So moving around isn't anything new to you. That's what it sounds like.
No, not really. I don't know. I get a little antsy when I'm in a place for too long, but on the other hand, maybe we'll see after the AT. But it'd be nice to be in one place for a little while, maybe after this.
Yeah. So to describe that a little bit, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Um, I know it's kind of a deep question, but that antsiness, what do you think that is specifically to your life?
Huh, that's a good question. Um, and something I actually am like wanting to think about while I'm on trail.
Mhm.
um, I think so. Something I was just reflecting with my parents on is that I have this love for learning, and I feel like I sort of talked to you about it earlier, but have lived these like many lives. So I've had lots of curiosities. I like went to school for music, for French horn and music theory, and then I got into filmmaking when I was in New York and copywriting. And um, I think I'm just a curious person, and I want to see more of the world and learn more from other people. And so it's this constant like search. I don't know if it's like a search for meaning or what. That's what I'm still figuring out. But um, along with that, I think comes lots of moving around
Yeah.
and being able to go with the flow. But um, it's fun. It's also tiring. I think just change in general. I don't always think about that, like how much change I've put myself through in the last few years. But I think that can be a really wonderful, beautiful thing, but it has its cons as well, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of being a curious person, I found, right? And I don't know, I just kind of observe this about people, especially older folks. I grew up around a lot of old people. If you're a curious person and you like to learn, you never really find it all out. You kind of just discover what you don't know. And I don't know, personally, that's what I found on my AT journey is a lot of people go out in search of things that they think will, you'll find this resolute thing on trail, and maybe you will. There's been a lot of people who I think have, but at least that was my experience. But I think that's a good thing, right? And the trail is certainly full of discoveries, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot about yourself and the world around you. It seems like you're already on the path, right? You're already on
Mhm.
that path to discovery. And would you describe it as, is it self-discovery? Do you fall into the camp of, all right, I'm going out there to quote unquote find myself? I don't know. Would that be a way you would describe it?
That's maybe that's part of it. I think there are a couple reasons. I think at this specific moment, I'm feeling a little directionless, and so metaphorically and literally, it sounds really nice to have like a direction, to a little bit of direction to follow. Um, and then, yeah, I think the opportunity to kind of prove to myself that I am self-sufficient or can be, and kind of build this confidence in myself that I'm seeking more of. So, I suppose that falls under the umbrella of self-discovery a little bit though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Michigan, is that correct?
I did. I grew up in mid-Michigan.
Okay.
I'll show you the hand. Somewhere around there, that general area.
It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever get on out on any trails while you were younger up that way? I hear lots of great things about Superior Trail. I've been to Michigan once in the Kensington area. It's very beautiful. It's
Yeah.
kind of underrated, I feel like. But did you ever wander about in Michigan growing up?
Yeah, Michigan's beautiful. I didn't come from the most, like, outdoorsy family. I enjoyed and well, really, I loved being outside growing up. I feel like I grew up pre-smartphone. Like, we didn't have a computer in our house until I was in, like, 7th grade or something like that. So, we were outside playing in the backyard a lot. When I was younger, though, we didn't really go camping or hiking that much. It wasn't really until, um, I was in college, and actually until I moved to New York, I fell in with some folks who, enjoyed camping and escaping the city, going up to the Catskills and such. But I have done, as I've gotten older, some hiking in northern Michigan, kind of near Traverse City. I've done a short backpacking trip in the Porcupine Mountains, and um, but other than that, a lot of my more of my hiking experience has been from New York, upstate New York, Vermont, and Colorado.
Yeah. Those are some challenging hikes up through those areas. How
Yeah.
did you get introduced to the trail? What was do you remember a point in time where you're like, "Oh, what's that? I want to do that."
Yeah, so the trail, I believe, goes through the Bear Mountain area in New York. A lot of city folk go up there to
It's
escape.
literally a zoo. There is a zoo there, but it's a zoo of people.
Yes, yes, I haven't actually been to the zoo, but, yeah, a lot of people go and, like, have cookouts and, do the loop there. Um, and I remember hiking it, with my partner at the time that up in that area, and we saw this, like, vending machine, and we're like, "Is this a mirage?" Like, it just came out of nowhere, and I don't know if you remember or know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah, it's up at the top.
yeah, yeah, right
Yeah, yeah,
before the
yeah.
lookout point.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I just thought it's always since then been kind of in the back of my mind, as like, uh, "That'd be so cool, but it'll never happen," kinda thing. And then when I was laid off from my job in November, I texted one of my friends and was just like, "What if I just hike the AT LOL?" Like, as a joke. Um, and that joke kind of just it was a seed that grew into this little plant and a flower, and I don't know, it kind of took over, a little bit. I got deep into the YouTube videos and forums, and, I was like, "Ah, maybe I could do this thing." So, yeah, it will be my first through hike and my first, longer backpacking trip. Like, I really don't have that much backpacking experience, but I'm I'm really excited for it and just open to learning new things and meeting new people and, just trying to go at it with an open mind.
How long has this process been? When did you like how long ago was that the trip to Bear Mountain?
Oh, geez, years ago, maybe, like, 4 years ago when I first went there. It was a couple years into living in New York when we finally made our way up there,
And so would you
so
say this period of waiting has been 4 years long? Or has it been maybe the last year or 2 where you've actually started seriously, planning and considering the trip?
it's been, like, 4 months. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
yeah,
Missed
yeah,
that part.
it's been much yeah, I guess this idea was, like, in the back of my mind then
Mhm.
for, like, 4 years, but I didn't seriously, you know for me at least, it would have been it would be hard for me to, like, leave a steady job and leave a relationship and leave a place. I certainly could create those conditions in my life to be able to hike the AT, but, um, yeah, everything kind of, changed last fall, and then when I lost my job, that's when I was like, "Well, everything is kinda hard right now, but I can also look at it as an opportunity to do this thing that's kind of been in the back of my mind for a while."
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of relationships, I know you mentioned prior you were talking about your parents, and if you feel comfortable enough talking with that about that experience, a lot of people find themselves in that same camp where you've got this crazy idea to do the AT. It makes all the sense in your brain. You've watched all the videos, you've done all the research, but to these other folks, they're like, "What the hell? What the hell are you doing? Like, where are you going? Why are you?" absolving yourself of all this responsibility in life, so on and so forth. Did you have any of that experience with your folks?
Um, yeah, I'm happy to talk about it, and yeah, to your point, I feel like we do all this research and make the decision, and then they're kinda, like, roped in what feels like kind of late in the game or something, but, I was super nervous to talk to my parents about this because I really didn't know how they would react, so the unknown was kind of scary to me, and, um, I know I didn't, need their approval, but it's more fun and feels more meaningful when there's support, from people that I love and care about. But yeah, so I actually told my mom a couple of weeks ago, and she immediately started crying. We're criers, and my mom and I are both criers, but she cried because I think she was just so nervous. I think she heard about you hear about the dangerous things, like, thinking about, will my daughter get hurt? Are there gonna be, creepy people on trail who threaten her safety? Or, how is Mo gonna, like, eat? And things like that.
Are you carrying a
So
gun?
yeah, yeah. Are you I'm not, but that's, those are kind of the questions that you get. Yeah, my dad was like, "Do you have a knife?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah, and then I talked to my dad about it, a little bit after my mom. I don't know, I feel like I wanted to gauge my mom's reaction first, but, But yeah, they've been supportive. They've had a ton of questions, and but because of that, I've gotten to loop them into the process a bit more and um, discover things with them. And um, there's actually a book that I just got for my parents. Let me look it up. It's from sorry, I feel like I shouldn't be doing this right now. But oh, it's Hiking from Home.
Julia
Uh,
Child's book.
yes, yes, I got that from my parents, and my mom was like, "Thank you, this is so helpful." So I think that's making them feel a little better. But yeah, does that answer your question? I feel like that was pretty rambly, but
No, no.
overall, they're in on it and supportive, and that feels really good.
It certainly answers the question. I mean, it's important to feel like you have, community back at home who can support you and get behind you, rally behind you while you're out there.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I know we were talking a little bit prior before, and you mentioned that you are a storyteller, or at least a filmmaker, or were a filmmaker at one point in time. Is that correct?
Yep, yeah, when I was in music school, I between years of grad school, for music masters, you have 2 years of grad school, and that summer I worked on a film and, was like, "Wow, I really like this." I was sort of becoming disillusioned by, the conservatory life and, uh, school, so it was kind of a fun escape, and when COVID hit, I went from directing and co-directing films and branded docs to more copywriting because we weren't doing as much on-set work during the pandemic for obvious reasons,
Mhm.
and really enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed writing, um, so yeah, it sort of just came naturally to me, and is a is another side of the whole filmmaking process. So yeah, and then I started working for this other company doing writing on the brand and marketing team, but
No,
that is
writing
oh,
writing as in script writing, that kinda deal, or
script writing, story structure, coming up with concepts, like, even earlier on in the process, just doing research, understanding the client's needs, and kind of what sorts of stories, can be most helpful for them and or help different companies tell their stories.
yeah. Which takes, I think, anytime one has to tell a story, you have to be able to, one, articulate yourself, know how to articulate yourself or the brand or whatever you're representing, but two, to also understand how to articulate that to the rest of the world. So I can see you being a very hyper creative person. Have you always been a very creative person? Have you dabbled in arts, crafts, anything like that, or has it just been filmmaking?
Um, I would say I'm a creative person. I started taking music lessons when I was really young. My mom comes from a very musical family, so lots of my aunts and uncles are band directors or musicians and themselves, and I just kind of grew up around that. Um, and yeah, so I would say it started with music and just anything I can do that lets out this creative energy inside is makes me really happy.
Yeah. So do you, as a storyteller, right, that you're about to write, I'm sorry, I hate speaking in metaphors like this, it's kind of silly, but you're about to write your own story on the AT.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectations as far as that? What that might look like for you? Anything that I mean, we talked about a little bit earlier about kind of what you're trying to find on trail, but um, do you see this playing out a certain way in your head?
I have no idea. Um, I have no idea how this is gonna play out. I'm hoping So part of this, like, prep process for me has been, talking to people who have gone before. So I've talked to this one person who hiked the trail in like 2009 and again in 2011, I think, and then someone else who did it in 2021, and my friend Claire who has done large sections of it, and um, that's been really helpful for me to kind of hear about their experiences and also all the things that have surprised them and that maybe they've gotten out of the experience something totally different than they thought. So yeah, just trying to be open-minded. I would love to, um, get to know some folks along the way and like sharing this experience together with others. I think, yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to be able to do a lot of introspection, and I will be bringing a journal to write, um, hopefully every day. I want to have something I can, like, reflect on later in the future and, like, see how the whole trail, if I can finish it, which I hope I can, how it all progressed and kind of my feelings and experiences I've had along the way, but, um yeah, other than that, I'm trying to stay open. I think I'm a little hesitant to set really concrete expectations for better or for worse because, um, yeah, I don't want if things don't live up to certain expectations or end up veering off in a different path, I don't want to be disappointed or be so attached to something that I can't just be present in the moment, whatever moment I'm experiencing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's smart. Now you said you hope to finish the trail. Is what's your mindset and approach, as far as how you're going to handle your own determination and or goals on the trail? Is it are you there a lot of people take different approaches. Some people say, well, as long as I'm having fun, and sometimes it doesn't last long because then it's not fun anymore and then they go and then there's others who are like, oh yeah, I hope to make it, and they're resolute and determined to do it, and there's others who are like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hike the trail. I'm for sure. Like, what's been your approach as far as mindset?
I would say I'm more in the, middle the second thing you the second person you described. I do hope, I make it, I hope I enjoy it, but I also know that there will be days that are really hard, um, and, I think I at the end of the day, I want to just or I guess the beginning of the day, if you think about it this way, I just want to enjoy putting one foot in front of the other as long as I can. It's also something that having this experience is important to me. I think if I don't try it, I'll regret not trying it at this point. Um, and it's a huge goal that um, I would love to experience. Like I love it. I want to be able to like visualize hiking up Katahdin and like seeing that sign and um so but I also don't want to be mean to myself if I hurt myself or whatever. Like I think I'm just trying to balance like this curiosity about what my mind and body are capable of with also prioritizing my health and my safety and um yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But I do know that when I set my mind to something, I usually as long as nothing like there are uncontrollables, right? Obviously. But as long as none of that gets in the way, I usually see things through and that's something I appreciate about myself, but this is also like the longest, biggest thing I've ever set my mind and heart to. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, it's beautifully said. I mean, there's this what I call a beautiful dichotomy on the trail where the trail itself presents to you a very um, splendid and uh, beautiful trail, but it's also extremely aggressive and mean and cruel sometimes. And I think when we approach the trail, we kind of have to have that same mindset, right? Like you talked about having forgiveness for oneself when things get hard, but also being able to kick yourself in the butt and get yourself going when it's cold and you got to put those wet socks on or wet shirt on in the morning. It's yeah, you can't go in with one specific approach. It takes this beautiful dichotomy of different soft and hard approaches as you go on the trail. So yeah, I think that's well said. Um, before we talk about, because I wanted to ask you if you do feel prepared logistically, are all your ducks in a row? And you're about a month out from your hike. Have some of the kind of real world logistics been hard or difficult for you? Do you have everything squared away before you leave?
Yeah, I think I have most things squared away aside from, like, canceling my or pausing my Netflix subscription and things like that. No, there are a couple, like, gear-related things. I'm waiting for my REI dividend, at the end of this month to pick up a few last-minute things, um but I'm feeling good. And now having, like, talked to my parents and, um feeling very lucky and privileged that, like, they're both willing and want to, like, drive me down to Georgia and see me off. That helps so much not having to think about, like, a flight and then a shuttle and getting where I need to go. So, I don't know, I have an ongoing note and a spreadsheet that I think I texted you about the other day, and I feel like I'm marking things off the list, but somehow things keep getting added to the list. So, it'll all come together. I think the other thing I've been doing to prep is uh, sort of shakedown hikes. Like I there are a couple like I don't have everything in my backpack yet because like I'm waiting for the aforementioned dividend.
Hmm.
Um, but great thing about being in northern Michigan is there's so much natural beauty and I can find fun trails to go hike on for an afternoon or a day, and um, I've been feeling pretty good about that as well. So I don't know. The ducks, they're not all in a straight line row, but they're merging. They're coming together.
Yeah,
That's where they are.
they're almost in V formation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a do you know, why one when you see birds flying, why one side of the V is longer than the other?
I didn't even notice it. Oh my god. Wow. No, I don't know why.
This is okay. It's because I can't even bring myself to say it. Because there are more birds on that side. I just had to share a dad joke. Anyway,
Ah.
I as soon as I start
Oh,
saying it, I'm like,
snap.
"Is this how I wanna be remembered on the
Oh,
internet? Maybe not," but
no, no, you became a meme. That's great.
I thanked my dad for that joke.
That was a dad joke.
It was
Straight out of the dad joke
truly.
book, yeah. Oh, so do you feel prepared? Do you feel confident? Or you somewhere in between there? Or
I'm somewhere I feel ready.
mhm.
I feel ready. I That's how I feel. I mean, yes, there are a couple logistical things and gear things to pick up, and I think I have questions in my mind still, but I'm kind of accepting that there are some things I'll just learn as I go, and I feel okay about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you hoping to meet people and hike with people? How would you describe yourself socially?
I am. I'm hoping to meet people. I would love to, yeah, find a core group that I jive with, and we're kinda going at the same pace. I do like I also like hiking alone and being alone, but I think there will be flexibility for all of the above. Um, I Yeah, I think one reason I was, wanting to start in March, and in the earlier side of March is to be part of the bubble and maybe, like, slightly on the earlier side. I don't know. I've been looking at the, like, AT tracker, and it seems
The
like a
the
lot of people
bubble is
start.
ever present.
Yeah.
People start in February and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna start then to get ahead of the bubble," and then they find themselves in the bubble and they're like, "What?" Like,
Yeah,
the
I
bubble's
know.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. Well, I don't know, but that's just what I've read. Yeah, so long story short, yes, I would love to meet people, and just people from different backgrounds, people from, I think what's cool is we all somehow will find ourselves on this trail. Um, what?
Birds of a feather flock together.
I like this bird theme that we have going.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I think what will make it, I think, magical in some ways is the people. So, um, I'm really looking forward to that.
yeah. So I'm doing this crazy little experiment. It's kind of weird. When you get up this way into Northern Virginia, I'm near Front Royal, near halfway point. I'd love to get together, do a live interview. And what I want to do is I want to show you this clip of yourself now, and you'd be talking to your future self who's going to be sitting in either Harper's Ferry or somewhere near the halfway point on trail. And I want you to think about what you would say to yourself then.
Mm.
And if you did, what would you say?
What me right now would say to halfway point. Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I feel like I'm gonna cry now and I'm gonna cry then. As I said, I'm a crier. Um, just I'm proud of you. Yeah, it's been a really hard year, and you're doing the damn thing. So I'm proud of you.
You are. And, from my experience, getting to that trailhead, walking underneath that arch, I don't know if you're going to be doing the approach trail or not, but just getting to that point is really half of the journey. Um, I mean, there's a lot of people who talk about getting on this trail who say, and you'll hear it, you'll talk with people and they'll say, "Oh, I wish I could do that."
Mhm.
But it takes a lot of, it's a privilege in one respect, but it's also a
Yeah.
sacrifice, to get on the trail. You're sacrificing a lot and you're going to sacrifice a lot once you're out there as well. And I'm proud of you. I am excited for you in your journey, and I'm going to be, yeah, I'm going to be watching with anticipation as you make your way up the trail, and I'm going to look forward to getting together with you once again once you're up this way. But yeah, I just want to thank you for your time. I know it's precious, especially at this point in the game, and yeah, I look forward to talking with you soon. Um, you definitely have a unique story, and a lot more is to be written here this year. So it's gonna be a great year. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Trevor. So nice to meet you today, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person eventually when I make my way up
Yeah,
there.
sure you will. I'll see you then.
Okay.